and check out our guest here, Andrew Sendejo.
What's up?
11, 12 years
12.
in the league?
12.
Unbelievable career in the NFL, playing safety. Saw the hat. You got the Braintree hat on right now, but the Make Football Violent hat, it goes super hard. I love this hat. Look at that thing.
Wow.
If I would pay you money out of my wallet for that.
You know, I would give this to you, but it's reserved for Pat McAfee. He requested one. But we do have these, the guy who's making these, they do have them for sale.
All right,
online,
I will buy it.
so.
Like I said, here, let me show the audience here. It's unbelievable. I'm actually going to steal this right now. No, Pat McAfee, who's going to be yards from us. He's a little bit bigger time than us here at PHNX. But Andrew Sendejo here on behalf of Braintree. What are you guys doing over there at Braintree?
Man, so we have a line of brain health products that help with focus, memory, neuroprotection, stress and anxiety, sleep, hydration. Really just wanted to make a line of products that are backed by clinical human studies proven to be effective. You know, being in the league, obviously, a lot of head trauma, prolonged head trauma on myself, my peers, and just really set out to kind of help with all that. You know, weren't a lot of products around when I was playing, and so really our whole mantra is just brain health and just overall health, having people feel better, longevity. You know,
So how much education have you provided for current or former players, and what's been the feedback so far on this?
Yeah, so we have guys that will reach out to us after they get a concussion or whatnot. We'll send products to guys free of charge. We're not trying to make any money off those guys. We made it to help. Really, it was our whole deal. And at first, we were taking all these different ingredients separately, and then that's when we consulted with our neurologists on staff to validate all the studies and how they all work together synergistically to help with all these areas. And so, yeah, there is a lot of education to it to kind of understand, but we like to just make it simple for the guys. We're like, hey, like you should take this every day to help with even just remembering plays, like memory recall. Like there's a ton of mental, there's a huge mental aspect to the game, probably if not more than the physical aspect. And every week you memorize all these plays, all these different adjustments. And then at the end of the week, you have to wipe it all clean and relearn kind of a whole new script, so to speak. And so there's a huge part of, huge mental part of the game. And so that's kind of where we come in.
Did you ever connect with the first year covering Jonathan Gannon was great. I mean, you talked to us at this time last year and you kind of gave us some insight before he got the gig with the Cardinals and where he was going to have a strength in connecting the players. And man, did we see that? We saw the buy-in. Have you connected with him, at least any of his players on Braintree?
Yeah, a little bit. So we're working with the nutritionist. We're hoping to kind of get that just throughout the building, for this next season coming up. We kind of, some of our products that we were launching specifically for some of the athletes and for just the facility in general, kind of just missed the cutoff on the timeline. So just staying close with them and, trying to help out, especially when, it comes to training camp and, how freaking hot it gets out there. So, but yeah.
Any other sports that have maybe come to you guys, and outside of, obviously football, you think about the violent sports,
like so we actually, I don't know a ton of hockey players, weirdly, even after being in Minnesota, but we have a UFC fighter, obviously a lot of head trauma, and weirdly soccer players, like when they have to head a ball, do get some kind of minor head trauma there. But even outside of just the head trauma, just the overall, we like to say that brain health is mental health. Whenever you can't focus or you can't remember or you're stressed or you can't sleep well, those are the things that affect your mental health. So just in general, I give this stuff to my mom, my dad, really for anyone who's looking to kind of improve all these different areas and just, enhance and preserve their cognitive function.
I think about how you used to play the game and even your hat, make football violent again. It's one of the things when we talked to JG in his introductory press conference, how he breaks down what he wants from his players. He wants them adaptable. He wants them violent, right?
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
And it seeed like you kind of fit the mold of all that.
Yes, that was probably why we got along so well. Because he was like, you're exactly what I like as a safety. But yeah, those are all
stepbrothers. Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And he was a huge, nutrition supplement guy. So we got along in lots of different areas. And I think a lot of it too is just as a coach, if you see things the same way and your coach isn't having to convince you to do something that doesn't make any sense, or when you give him input on on, there's like an adjustment. You say like, that's just not going to work. That like they're going to score a touchdown if we do it that way. And some coaches are very stubborn and they say, no, we're doing it this way. And some will take your input and try to, whether it's, they take that to the defensive staff meetings and say, hey, like, this is going to put my guys in a bad situation. And that's how it always is. Every position coach is fighting for their position to get like the easier job, just so that like their guys look good. And then there's no way you can do that all the time. So
yeah, one of the things I really love about learning about people is that you don't know what makes them up. And what's one thing about Jonathan Gannon that you feel like people either there's a misconception about or something that they don't know about that makes him who he is?
Well, I guess it would be interesting to know kind of what their outlook is, but I think just from knowing him, he's just, had a, humble upbringing, Cleveland guy, like blue collar guy. And that's just, he worked his way up, especially as a defensive coach. Like that's tough to do nowadays. We're all looking for offensive coaches most of the time. And so you just got to appreciate the fact that nothing was really handed to him, that he had to like grind it out to get to where he's at. And so a guy like that, that they are every week are giving it all they can to prepare their players in order to have a chance to win.
How's that balance? Because coaches, sometimes you got to be a hard ass. Sometimes you got to be a little tender, if you will.
Yeah.
How's he managed that? And what did you feel about? Did he have a pretty good pulse on where you were at as an individual, not only physically and how you're playing, but also mentally?
I feel like we were kind of just on like a different level. It was almost like your friend saying it, so you could just be very open and we could talk very candidly to each other. Yeah. And yeah, that is the balance that you have to find as a coach, to where you have to be on their ass, but you also have to, you have to have that balance of almost like making it enjoyable to go to work at the same time. Like, you can't have 100% enjoyment, you can't have 100% just on your ass all the time. There's that balance. And a lot of that usually comes with winning, like it's easy to be happy in the building when you're winning. When you're not, it's tough, but it's such a long season, such a grind. It definitely takes like a mental toll on you. It
was strange. I mean, the Cardinals only won 4 games this year, but you could definitely feel that there was buy-in throughout the season, and those guys were playing hard, and it was because of what the culture that Jonathan Gannon had kind of put in place in his short time there. But you're a fun guy. I follow you on Instagram. Some wild posts out there. You have some fun.
Yeah.
Did you keep up with Jonathan Gannon, and did you see like the perception? Like he went in there with enthusiasm, and like people posted it like he's doing like the pew 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 like shots and explosives, and he's got the fire in the gut. Did you ride the bus or whatever? And like I took it as like, I think he's just enthusiastic about his job. What did you think of the stuff that maybe some people were poking fun of, where he was just out there being himself?
I feel like I didn't get the context of what he was actually talking about, so I didn't I don't know. I've been around the guy so much. I'm sure, there's sometimes you have to like get to know your coach's personality too, of what type of coach they are. If they're, sarcastic or very serious, or like how they try to get their message across. Is it through like really interesting analogies, or how they do it? Everyone has a different coaching style, and so that's also part of it. It's just like learning about your coach to the point where you guys are so in sync, to where you can tell when your coach walks in just by their demeanor. You're like, oh shit, we're in trouble, or like, okay, he's in a good mood. And that's a thing that just takes time. But I know Gannon, I know
he fires in the door. Like, is there anybody that you've seen with that type of energy in your 12 years in the NFL?
Gosh, I have to go through all the damn coaches now, but
let that brain tree really work.
It's I think he just had a good balance, and I think I just love the way that he was just kind of like a no panic kind of guy. He'd come in the locker room before the game. He's not like trying to give you all these last second tips, like, freaking out. He's just like, hey, like, good luck today. And that was
put in the work.
Yeah.
Now it's time to execute.
He was always, his big deal was, the game day is the players' day. Don't mess with the players. Obviously there's an absolute last second adjustment that you saw or something, whatever you mention it, but there's some coaches that they get a little panicky on game day, and they start trying to like run through the reminders. You're like, Coach, I've been studying this shit all week. I got it. All right.
Yeah, no, I love that. That perspective. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like that demeanor in the locker room. And some guys respond differently to other people, but Jonathan Gannon seems like he responded or got people to respond to him with the majority. Because we've been watching Cardinals. In the Cliff Kingsbury era, I would even argue and say that even in their playoff year, they didn't have from 1 to 53 the amount of guys that played as hard as they did than this past season with Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, I think watching the how the players play, like you said, they play hard. I feel like that is one of the best indicators of that they respect their coach because they're playing hard because for their coach, for their teammates, versus some places you go, some guys are just not like that. You can turn on the tape. There's guys kind of loafing around or not really hustling to the ball. And I think that also shows that guys they understand the scheme. They're able to play fast. It takes time. There are obviously some teams that like first year the coach does well, playoffs, all that. But I mean, you can see with the Lions, some of these things take time to find the right pieces too. You don't have all the guys that after a year you're like, okay, we need to these couple areas, we need to address these in the draft and the offseason and whatnot, free agency. And that's just how it goes. But so looking forward to this upcoming season.
Let me ask you this. You were telling us last time that you were giving JG shit about he didn't have any tent on his G-Wagon's windows when the infamous video of we're going to fucking gut these guys dropped.
Yeah.
You were texting him and giving him shit. But, throughout this time, as you guys are close, have you noticed any difference since he went from DC to head coach? I'd imagine.
Yeah, I can't fucking get a hold of the guy. me and Harrison Smith, we're his two safeties, whatever. So we're all in a group chat. We text all the time, and I text Harrison. I said, "Man, I think we lost him." Because once you go to head coach, there's so much stuff you got to deal with. You got to deal with the media. You got to deal with fines. You got to deal with this and that. And I was like, yeah, he's not going to respond as often, but we would still, on game day, throw some text out or whatnot, and here and there, we just check in. So, try not to bug him too much. Obviously, when he gets back to his phone finally at the end of the day, you don't want him to feel obligated to shit, I got to respond to these guys. So,
does he really have an iPhone 4?
I don't
Maybe
know
that's why he's not responding.
No, I don't know what iPhone
is it green
has.
bubbles or what?
No, it's blue. I don't know
good.
what he probably when he got that pay bump, he probably upgraded. I'm sure the team probably was like, look, we're going to trade this out because we have to be able to get a hold of you, and if we can't get a hold of you, that's going to be an issue. So they probably swapped him up, got him a new iPhone.
That's funny.
Incredible insight from Andrew Sendejo. Braintree, where can people find more info?
Yeah, go to BraintreeNutrition.com. We have 35% off sale. You can sign up, check it out. Free shipping, money back guarantee. If you think it sucks, we'll refund it. It doesn't. But, so go check us out, BraintreeNutrition.com.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy the rest of the time out here. Radio Row. Are you playing the tables tonight? You got a game?
No, I don't. I'm not a gambler. Every time I come to Vegas, you always spend so much damn money on everything else. I'm not going to also lose money gambling. So, I might do a little shopping or something. But I'm just kind of busy hitting the Radio Row. So,
all right,
no gambling for me.
Awesome, man.
All right, see you boys.
Yep, later. Awesome stuff from Andrew Sendejo, 12-year NFL safety, trying to get a hold of JG on a daily basis. Text him back, man. Let's go.
Yeah, come on, JG.
Let's go.